Hello guys, in this tutorial I will show you about Laravel PHP tutorial series. In this series we talk about how to build a very simple Laravel PHP with MVC project. We also have a very small project at the end, and in the exercise we will talk step by step about how to build a view in Laravel, a controller in Laravel. So Laravel is a very famous framework of model view controller. So the model view controller allows you to process the request from the client. The client send a request to the server, and the server, the controller receives the request from client. And before receiving the request, it has a routing process. The routing mechanism allows you to choose which controller to be processed the specific request. So routing here means show the right way to process the specific request from the client. The client can send the request by using Google Chrome, Firefox, etc. And the controller receive the request from client through routing, and it process the business and then return to the view, and the view will be displayed to the user to see. So user can see the result as a view, and user can interact with the view, and the controller can access the model to access to modify the database to get data from the database. So the database here I use MySQL. So you can also use SQL Server. You can also use PostgreSQL. So here in this example we use MySQL. Yes, it's very easy and familiar for you to remember and understand. So firstly we need to install XAMPP. XAMPP means Linux, Apache, PHP. So it is a bundle of several applications which allow you to start the server and to build your own application server. So next the step is quite easy to understand. You can only press next and accept. Okay. The second part, we need to install Composer. Yes, you can Google search for Composer and download Composer to your computer. So you press next to Composer to install the Composer, and next and accept every step, and you must specify the path for PHP dot execute. Okay, so complete Composer setup here. The Composer capacity is very small, so it is very good for you to download and learn. Okay, so we also have some command line, and we use command from the command line in Windows or Mac OS or Linux. You can create a new project by using this line to create a new project, a new Laravel project. So the process may take about several minutes depending on your internet velocity or internet speed. So you change directory to Laravel app and open folder using the Visual Studio Code. Then the Visual Studio Code open. Yes. So the Visual Studio Code have some useful extension for you to work with Laravel. So the second command we need to understand is to start the web server by typing PHP artisan server to start the application server in your computer. So here you can open this link by using Google Chrome on your favorite web browser. So PHP artisan server minus port means specify the port which start your project. So here your application server will start and can be connected through the new port. Yeah, it is a new port. So you can access a new port using this link. You can also change the name, the host name I access, the host file, open with Notepad, run as administrator, and open. Okay, so you open the file name host. Yes, the host file allow you to give your application server a name. So you specify the name, maybe Laravel app. My Laravel app mean the local host. Okay, so when you try to access a local host, it means you access this name. So here it is Laravel app semicolon 8082. Okay, so press setting to change the font size to 20. Okay, yes, it is very useful. In package.json is a Node.js project allow you to manage the front end of your application Laravel. So there are some useful. So first is Laravel artisan. The second is Laravel Blade. The Laravel Blade snippet allows you to build your view. Your view in Laravel, you can access controller from view. You can access many components inside the Laravel system. Okay, so Laravel Blade snippet. Then we also need Laravel Blade Spacer. It allows you to see the code more beautiful, and the Laravel go-to view allows you to go to the specific view inside your MVC project, and the Laravel Extra Intelligence and SASS help you to customize your user interface, your web user interface. Okay, so by customizing CSS, you can use SASS lever compiler. It allows you to modify the output real time. You can also use beautiful CSS, SASS is very good to do, and the capacity is quite small. So the PHP intelligence to allow you to automatically generate the code when you type here. When you type your code, it will automatically generate the next word. And the getter setter for constructor, yes, it allows you to create a getter setter generator for a specific class in PHP. Okay, so bracket pair is also a very useful package for coloring some specific component inside your code. Okay, so by coloring, it allows you to see easily the error occur inside your code. Okay. And the JavaScript ES6 code snippet allow you to modify your code, your JavaScript code in front end, and it will allow you to see the specific error in your JavaScript code, but this is not so necessary in these tutorials. The Visual Studio Code icon will modify your folder icon very beautiful, so you can use you can see the folder icon like here, the folder model, the folder for configuration, the folder icon for language, for database. So it has some familiar icon. So the second part we need is environment variable. Environment variable means global variable which can be used everywhere in your code. The first here is app name, and you can also add more global or environment here. For example, my name, okay, and you can also add the host name, the database name inside here. So yes, so for testing you can display to the web browser, and here in web.php allow you to return the specific variable. Like here you can return the specific by using env. So here we can see the env variable. Okay, so inside the vendor you can see many package or many dependencies you have just installed. For example, the dependency name in compose.json mean the first is path, the second is alpha and beta. Yes, it is the convention for you to know about the specific version you use. So it is very good to allow you to specify which best version at this time. So it is mean that 7.2 but less than 8.0. Yes, you can search this folder in vendor. Yes, the required depth mean every dependency required in the development part, and the auto load mean something to load before the application start. Okay, we have to load the application, have to load the database factory and the database feeder, etc., and you can add more directory here. It is something like the environment variable in your Windows system, and in autoload PHP you can add more dependency here. So after copying this and find in composer.log, you can see the detail library or detail package with the version, the URL in Git. Okay, if something wrong with your dependency, you can open the link in GitHub and check for the status. Okay, so here the file is composer.log, and you can try to delete the composer.log and dir to see yes, and you can update install dependency by typing composer update or composer install. You can automatically re-download every file inside the library or the vendor folder to this, and it download from the GitHub repository, and then the composer log reappear again. For example, in packages you can also see many library. For example, we have a library for calling API. It is Moliere. Yes, and you can copy the installation like here and paste to the terminal to composer require Moliere. Yes. You copy this to the command line to install a specific dependency and type and then return. Okay, it will automatically access the internet and download every file and folder from the specific GitHub repository, and then it add a new line to the required. Require means that this dependency must be installed. Okay, so you can also composer update to reload to re-update again the library. So the composer is very useful to install, to add or remove a specific library or specific dependency. If you delete a specific vendor dependency, you can reinstall again by typing composer update. Yes, this is quite useful when you want to add or remove vendor or dependencies. Okay, so the publishing is complete by typing this, and you can check again to see the Molière has been added to here. The second part, we talk about the view. We return view name welcome, but where is welcome? Here, this is welcome. Is it a default view in Laravel? It is automatically created when you start a project. Okay, so let's try to display your parameter inside this view. Okay, so you can see it's my name here. Because I display the name to the view of the welcome Blade. Okay, here is some code from initial code written in by using bootstrap, etc. Okay, so you can see the Huang is here, and then so it is a way to test that the specific view has been accessed. So now I define my own router. The first router here is user, and this is a user page. Inside the user page, we can also have multiple action, multiple link. So refresh, then we can see this is the user page. Okay, so in this case it responds to a view, and the second part responds to a string, and now we want to respond to an array. We have an array in PHP like sushi, sashimi, tofu. Yes, it is an array of string, and then you access to this link put. Okay, and you can display to your view as here. So you can also respond as an object like this. We define a new router name about me. Yes, and I return. I respond an object like JSON. So respond JSON. Here, a JSON like an associative array. We have a key and value pair to define an associative array in PHP. We have name, we have email, we have age, etc. This is my private information. So after writing this and you refresh, so we have name and email like this. Okay, so you can respond to another request. It is called redirect. You can redirect to a new request. Yes, to redirect to a new request, in case you modify something and you redirect to the specific list to see the updated list. So for example, we define a router name something. Okay, you can something, and you redirect to for example, redirect to foods. Okay. After doing something before line 25, we redirect this request to another request. So here, after typing, yes, you can redirect to the root, and the root here is the welcome. Okay. Now, if you want to redirect to food, you can refresh again, and then you type slash something. Okay, so it redirect to foods. Okay, So comment out this code line, and you can understand what we have just talked about routing. So now we define more view. The view here is Blade. Blade is very popular for any PHP developers. And home view is a Blade view. Okay, so it is an HTML file, but you can also add the dynamic variable sending from the controller. So we can use this command line to PHP artisan list to give every option you can work with PHP artisans. So there are many ways to to make automation, and the first here is PHP artisan make controller to create a new controller by using PHP artisan command line interface. So we create a new controller named product controller, and it is successfully created. A controller is where to receive the request from the client. So the product controller will extend from controller in PHP Laravel framework. Okay, so you can type again, and then the controller already exists. It do not allow you to override because maybe you write many code here and is for safety. Okay, so now press to product controller and you can write code here. Inside the product controller we have many methods. Every method will combine to a specific view. So you can make a controller by dash.force mean to create product controller and override the existing controller. Dash-force mean override. It will override the old controller code. Okay. You can also import the controller into the web PHP. The web PHP means the router configuration. Web PHP means router configuration. Okay. So we import the product controller to here, and we customize the router for this controller. So the router here is products, and the function here mean the specific router. So when you access to products, it will automatically access to the index function of the product controller. Yeah, yes. This is quite convenient because you can have many requests or many actions, many methods inside a controller. Means that we have many function inside a specific entity for a specific controller. Okay, so the first here is the index method, and you create a new view. The view name here is the same as controller name, and we add the method name inside the controller name. Method name may be index.blade.php. Okay, so this is a PHP file. PHP file here is also an HTML file, and here the index function of product controller. We display a heading 1 inside this. Okay, so after accessing this products link, the product controller will be used. So here is a detailed part. Yes, the part here is controller name dot event name or action name. Okay, so it will display index function of products controller. We can add more to about, and this is your exercise. You can copy the code and change to about. And how to pass a data to view? We can use a compact. The compact means we send a single variable to the view. The single variable here is title. We send the title and display the title in the view by open bracket and open two bracket and see like here. Okay, so title means Laravel course from the one. Okay, you can add more $x, $y, send the compact will send title x and y to send several variables to the view. Okay, so refresh and we display to heading 3 x and y value sent from the controller. Okay, so x and y here using Blade syntax. So what about passing data with using with? Using with, you can pass the data through to the view by using with function. With function has a key and value. The key name here is name and the value here is a string in PHP. Okay, so I display using h3 name is equal to open bracket and $name is okay. So the syntax here is with key and value, with and key and value. Key means a property name and the value is a value of the object. Okay, so name is one. I display here. Okay, so with can only send one parameters, but in some case we need to send multiple variable and we send an array. Then we can send by using associative array. We can use an associative array to send multiple variable to the view. So in this case we have my phone. My phone is an array, an associative array. It has year, its name, it has many specific variable. So we return view and use compact, and the compact here is key and value. Key means my phone and the value here is $my phone. Yes, and here I can display in by using for it. Yes, for it is a syntax for iterate value inside a specific associative array. So display to here. So compact is used when you want to send a specific object. Okay. Compact or with is also good for you. The third way is to send directly. You can send directly by send a specific array to the view with the key and value as my phone and the value is $my phone. Okay, we add more property like is favorite, a boolean value. In this case is true. Okay, yes, and can display like this. So the third part we want to use is a router like here. This router can display the detailed information about the project, a specific object, and we also have a method like detail, the public function detail, and the parameter is ID, $ID. Yes, and it changes the specific ID like here, yeah, and no to display. And we want to return to the screen. Maybe product ID is equal to here to concatenate string. Yeah, then you can refresh. Okay, so product ID in this case is 1, 2, 3. You can also find by name. By get a specific object inside the product list, but in this case I send a fake or a customized object to here. So for each product, yes, refresh. Okay, yes, so you can see the output like this. So you can also change the specific parameter here to a string like a product name and send detail as product name. Okay, so save this file, and before that you can write a list of phone. Here's an array of phone. You have multiple variable key and value like here. Okay, so we display $phone. Okay, other specific product name. Yes, so insert the product name, we have the value, so it is an associative array. So here I remove this code line and I display it. Okay, so here iPhone 12, 15. Okay, Samsung. Okay, yes, you can access multiple value from the key, but if you get a new key, it will display undefined array key. Yes, so you must modify this by using default value or nil coalescing. Nil coalescing allow you specify a default value for nil as a nil. So router, and the second is line by how to validate. So how to validate the ID must be integer. How to validate? You can validate manually by using if else, but it is not good. Please use where. Okay, in this you can validate by using where the ID here must be a regular expression from 0 to 9, specific. Yes, from 0 to 9, and when here, yes. Okay, so it will display every number. Yes, if you want to use string pattern, you can use this. This string pattern means that the variable will be A to Z to Z, but not special characters. Okay, and in this case it is maybe A to Z and 0 to 9. Okay, yes, at least one character from that list or from that set of characters. Okay, so you can add more parameter by using slash. So dash ID, dash product name, dash ID. Yes, so where product name here is a string which contain characters and integers. Okay, okay, so it is quite simple. It is properly for some simple validation, but you can use multiple input validation by separating to property like this. The product name must be here, the ID must be like his. Okay, so it is multiple validation using where. So now the parameter sent to detail action here has two arguments, product name and ID. We have two arguments. We display product name, we display product ID to here. Okay, so now open Okay, you can access the link like here, and I can see the output, product ID and product name like this. So you can also define the router name by specific name for the router. It is convenient when you do with multiple routers. So now we return to products.index. So the index method of the product controller, or the index view inside the product folder. You can print the detailed object by using print R or print result, print the result. Yes, and we print router products. Yes, we print the router product means that's a specific name. Okay, you display the specific router. Okay, so it is a specific router. Get and display the router name. The router name is very useful if you want to detect which router you are in, or how to navigate to another router and check the proper router, yes, etc. So the router here is linked to products. It is a href, yes, to here, and you can press link to product to link to a specific router. So you can define more router with the name here. We define the name maybe page controller, and here it is the index function inside the page controller or the index view. So we need to create a new controller by using PHP artisan command lines to make a controller. To PHP artisan make controller name page controller to create a new controller by using PHP artisans. So a new controller has been created inside this folder. Yes, this folder has page controller, and you can copy this import to give the web PHP know about this. So in page controller we define the index function. The index function corresponding to the index view. So we create a folder name page like a controller name. So index.blade.php. Okay. So this file here inside the page. Okay. So we give some information like page. Okay. So page controller index. We display the page controller index. Yes. You can delete. It is not necessary. We can concentrate to this only. So we style to this controller by adding background color. We surrounded this view by styling background color and setting the height, for example 100%. Okay, background color 100 pixel, background color, and inside the div we have the paragraph. This is header and this is footer. So here we have two separated parts, means the header and the footer for every page, and we can reuse this in every page. So we name this to about. We name the page controller. We add more index. We add more action to the controller. So we have index, we have about. Yes. The router name here is about, and it's specified to the about method of the page controller. So we define another file for view. So about.blade.php. Yes, for the about view and the index view. Yes, so you copy this and paste to here. Yes, so we have two view, yes, with the same value and with the same form. It also have header and footer. Yes, so two page has header and two page also have footer. Okay, so we define a layout folder containing the separated view. So we add app.blade.php, paste to here, copy. This is about page, and add the yield. The yield here is content. Yield content here, add the content. So this is app.blade is master page, about the child page, and the index onto the child page. And you copy the content of the header and footer and remove this without unnecessary. It is will be extend from the layout page. This is the very basic content of the about page. It only has one heading 1, and we copy this or we copy the content inside the section content. So the section content here will have the header above and the footer below. Then we can do the same with any other page inside your app. So refresh to see. So this is about page with share header and footer. So header and footer will be saved to separate files. So we drag and drop it here, do the same with other page, for example index page. So we change this to page controller index, and we access this via the router like dash index. Okay, so here we have a header and footer for the header page. Okay, so in here we can copy and separate this. So now we want to add bootstrap to header. Yes. This is quite simple by using content delivery network or CDN link. So you copy the link from the bootstrap page. So we copy the header from bootstrap page, and we have the header like here. So in the header we have link 1, link 2, link 3 inside navigation bar. So we define a file name header.blade.php. Okay, this is a header file, and we copy the content from the header. So here I copy the navigation to header and paste to here, and then we copy something. We copy the background like here and paste to the header. So here we must specify the PHP file to here. So the path for this is layout.header is a path for the header. So now I change the content again and refresh. Okay, so we have link. Yes, we change to confirm that everything change is applied. So include mean at this position we have the header. So we define another name, another PHP file name, footer.blade.php. Then we copy the content of footer and click here and paste to here. So this is footer, and then inside the app we include the layout footer here. Yes, and the content is the content of every page inside your app. So we change a little bit this footer. Okay, so we have the footer like here, and then we access another page. We also have the same header and footer, and we open another link. So we add this to the link. Then we can change the link to home, to about, and to portfolio. Okay. Yes, it's convenient. So here icon, this is contact. Yes. Then we have multiple link like here, and we can add more controller to manage. So the navigation is very important when you want to work with multiple pages in your application. So you can dynamically change this to by checking the request. The request object can check if your request is check your path, your router path, or your router name, and then it specify the color for this, and you can customize the CSS depending on the value from the router information. So we define a class ID. So the class may be changed to red if you press to this. So it will change this to red color when you check for the active is okay or fail. Okay. So navigation link add to here, and so refresh. Okay, so now we have home, about, portfolio, contact. Yes, it is quite easy to understand in this case. So the navigation link is used for every page, and then now I access to a link that not found or unavailable. What's wrong? So we can define literally not found page. Okay, so now we download from the internet an image like here. So we have an image. So to import the image, I can use the EMG element. The EMG element access to URL, images, pen color. Yes, it is my image. So we can copy and paste many PNG, JPEG file into this folder, and I access it through the URL. So I can also print the reroute to here. So I print out the URL image pen color. Yes, I copy this and paste to here. So print the URL. Yes, so this is a URL for the page, and I concatenate the image name to the URL. Then we have the full part of the URL. Yes, unify relate locator. So we call PHP artisan storage link. So then this will create a storage folder inside your application, and it has secure information, and this is called the storage folder. Then we can change the folder to the new storage for more secure purpose. Okay, so now I can see the storage like here. Okay, so I can copy the image file by right click or drag and drop to the new folder, the storage folder. Okay, so inside the storage folder now we have the PNG file, and I can access this through the new storage with a set. I can use a function a set. So access to access to the storage. So refresh. Okay, so I can refresh and see the image. So here. So now remember to use a set, not use URL. Okay, so open about view, and then we can add more information to this page. So now we concentrate, we center to the basic command in Blade. So first here is if. The if here like the if in PHP, but you add the character as the first at the start. So the character if 1 less than 2 is true. So at this line, if we display 1 heading 3, if or and if allow you to show a specific tag or not show. So here you can show it, 1 is less than 2. Yes. You can also use else if, okay, to show another information. For example, if you want to show this but do not show that, and I show the information depending on the some variable. For example, we define a variable x is 10, and I check that the x is bigger than 2, so I display to heading 3, means that x is greater than 2. Yes, x is greater than 2. Otherwise, if $x or if this change this variable to less than or equal to 100, for example, so I display. So you can use the if and the if statement in here. It's very similarly to the PHP syntax. Yes. So L is true, so 1. Yes. Then you can change the $x in line 6 to another value and see the output content in the heading 3. Okay, in the heading 3 you can see the output content. So else, for example, else is the remain. We display to heading 3, for example, some variable like for the own condition are not matched. Okay, own condition are not matched, and then change to 100, change it to 100, okay, etc. So here inside the about action, I define a name. The name is 1, and I send this name, this variable, to the about view by using with to send a single variable to this view. And you can read this variable and check. Unless mean if not. Okay, unless mean if not, or if it is fail. Yes, unless, so it's equal to if not if it is failed. Yes. The use of unlist is quite easy. For example, you check for empty. Empty means to check if the variable has property or has value, etc. So use empty. So name here is empty. So an unlist means no empty. Okay, so I display name is not empty in this case. So refresh. Now name is not empty. And an unlist. Yes, we have an if, and we also have an unlist. So we can also check for if not empty. Okay, here mean if not empty. So we must add up here, and we have to add an if. Okay. So I copy this and paste this to here. So the same from line 20 is the same as the previous one. So here name is not empty. It is the same as with line 18. And refresh. Name is not empty. Okay. Now click to Visual Studio Code, and we add more statement to here. We add multiple statement to here to check, to try to do if else, to check for try with unlist. Okay. So here we also have empty. Yes, it's more convenient if we want to check if empty. So let's use at empty. We check that the name is empty, and we display to the screen that name is empty. Okay, name is not empty. Yes, very convenient to use. So then refresh. So name is not empty. Yes. There are multiple, or there are many statements in Blade, but it's very easy to learn because it has the same syntax with PHP. Okay. So then we can check for at empty. For example, we empty, for example, $h. Yes, $h. Heading tree. If the h is empty, so we display heading tree h is empty. Okay, heading tree h is empty. We can also check for an object by calling iSet. It means if iSet in PHP. So we display name has been set and refresh. Okay, name has been set. Yeah, this is the iSet. Okay, this is quite easy to learn how to work with iSet, how to work with empty, how we work with if empty, how to work with unlist, etc. Yes, it is so easy to learn this by Google more. So now we talk about switch. It is something like switch case. For example, we switch the value of name. If the value of name is 1, we display that this is me. Okay, it's the 1. In the case another string, we can show the according heading tree. So in the the default case, so no one selected. So the otherwise is also refresh is Mr. Huang, because I defined this from the controller. I send from the page controller to this. Okay. So I can copy and show more about. Now we have another case of Henry, for example. So the heading here is this Henry, etc. And I copy this line and paste, copy and paste. Okay. So in page controller, we change the name to Henry, for example. Change the name to Henry. So the name has been sent to about page and refresh. Okay, so this is Henry. Yes, you can also send more sophisticated object, like object with key value. You can send the array to the view, and we iterate the array inside the view. So there are many ways to define an object, to send an object, and send multiple objects from controller to view. Okay. So what about for each? For each is to iterate a list. So I iterate the list using for loop. For example, we iterate from the iteration step from 0 to 20, and we display to a heading 2. So I display the index, or the I is equal to $I. Okay, it's very convenient. So the value will display line by line from 0 to 20. Yes, it is like here. Yes, 0 to 19. Okay, from 0 to 19, or from 0 to 4. Yes, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. So it is an iteration. You can send an object from controller to this as an associative array or an array. So let's define a names. Names is an array. So the array contains some name, maybe Huang, maybe David, maybe John, maybe Tom, etc. As we define multiple string inside here. Yes, we add multiple string to the array. The names, name is array. So let's use plural in English, not singular. Plural in English means array, and we return by send directly to the view. Send this directly to the view with the key and value pair, mean names and names. Okay, so I send this to the view, and inside the view we iterate this name. So it is also good to you to test for the Blade syntax. Okay. So here I can use for each. Yes, for each is used to iterate a list inside in PHP. So each name is equal to names, $names, each name. Okay, so we comment out this code line for more easier to manage your code. Okay, so comment here, and we display each name. Then refresh, so we have each name: David, Huang, John, Michael, Taylor. Yes, It's very convenient this way. So we iterate using for it, and now I define a more sophisticated. So in this case, a blank array. So it does not show anything. So below for it we use for else. What is for else? Now try to do. So for else and empty, the way is empty. Okay. For else means that it will show if the array is not empty. Yes. And we change this to the full array and refresh. So we have here like previous. Okay. So you can use Blade to customize your web page, to customize your view, and it is quite easier to learn with this syntax. So anything else to do with this? So below the heading 1, maybe add more element here by adding a variable cell arrival, and we use while loop. Yes, while $i is less than 10, and I display the screen. So to display a list, I can use while loop, and I increase the I value to 1, and then I refresh. So oh, what's wrong? Maybe something wrong with my yes, it is open and close bracket. Yes, open and close bracket. Refresh. Okay, so it display to the screen that the iteration from 0 to 9, and it is here is ny. So here we talk about SASS, or syntactical or some style sheet. It is more convenient than original CSS with multiple configuration. For example, now we create a new folder name as CSS, and inside this I add app.scss. Okay, so now we want to download Node.js. Okay, to download Node.js to here. So Node-v and npm-v to see the version of Node.js. So here to see a refine inside the Laravel project. And now we have the package.json. Package.json is a file to manage dependencies in a Node.js project. So we npm install to reinstall every package of the Node.js. So here inside the package.json we see the dep. So the command here is to run in development. So npm run dep to run the npm run development. Okay, so here we install SASS loader, and then we compile. Yes, we can compile to this. So now in app.css I change the primary color, change a variable primary color to red. Then I assign this value to the background color body, and then inside app.blade I can comment out this, and I use the global variable of SCSS. So we define a link in relation to the SASS. Okay, and then you run again npm run watch to see the real-time update or the hot reloading of the Node.js project. So here I can see the output like this. It run and wait for your change. Now refresh, and you can see that the color, the background color now is changed to red. Okay. Yes, refresh, and we change to another page. So the background color now can be globally applied to every page. Then now if you want to change to primary to this to green, so you save this file, so you will receive a notification to show you, to notify you that something changed in your SCSS. Okay, so refresh, and then you can see. Okay, so inside the env or the environment, you can custom your database. You can custom your database, for example, MySQL database, your database host, your database port, your database name, etc. So you can install XAMPP, but in your project you can install Docker or Kubernetes cluster. I will talk about this in another videos. Okay, so set the environment variable to here, and then you can access the MySQL from terminal by typing this. You mean use root user and password is blank. Then we create a new database named Laravel app. Okay, and you can show database to see every database. So Laravel app is created and listed here. You exit the terminal, and PHP artisan make controller to create a new controller named post controller. The post controller will display every post object, so it will display through the index action. The index action will render to the view name post.index. Okay, so right click here, inside the view we right click and create a new folder named post to define the directory. So the directory name is the same as the controller name. Okay, so index Blade, and the content maybe here I copy every this and paste to the index. I copy this and paste to the index Blade PHP, and change a little bit, remove this and change it to this post page. Yes, and inside this I can define more router by copy and paste this and change this to post controller. Yes, change this to post controller and copy and paste this to post. So when you access to post, then the index of post controller will be called. So access is post. Okay, so this is post page. It will display to you to show. So now PHP artisan make model. The model now here is post. So open model, you can also see the post like here. So PHP artisan make migration, create table post. Yeah. The migration is a process of making new table, adding new field to existing table. so it is called migration. Now you can create again -m. -m mean make model and also create migration. Okay, -m mean create migration. So the model created and the migration also created below, and you can see this file here. So this is a new migration. Inside your application there are many migration because you change the database manually, continuously. Maybe you change this, maybe you add more table, you add more column to the table. So we have two functions inside the migration. The function is up and down. Down is the rollback or undo the migration. So the post has some field like, yes, you change the Laravel app, the same as with your database name, and then you can run PHP artisan migrate to run the migration. Then you connect to the database again, so database, and switch to the Laravel app database by use Laravel app, and you show every table inside the database. So here we have post table. Yes, so it describes the post. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, and now we have 2 more field automatically created. So 2 field here is show you when you created it or updated it, this field. Okay, we have a timestamp, we have a table, timestamp. If this is called created it and updated it, is automatically added to your table. So PHP artisan migrate reset, what means? It will call this function. It will roll back to the previous migration, and then it goes down. So it is called reset. Okay, so the reset will drop the database. So now access the database again, use Laravel show table, and now we have a table named migration. Yes, a table named migration is added. So we also have a refresh, mean that roll back and re-migrate again. Yes, it will be roll back and migrate again. So now it describes the post. Now we have the post has been created. Okay, so you can also refresh with delete on table and migrate. It means that the system will delete on table and migrate again. So status here, PHP artisan migrate stated to show you about the current status of the migration process. Okay, so you can also insert into to add more record to the post by insert into post value. Okay, so insert one row to the database, and then we select start from post to display every record inside the post. So we have one record. Yes, so the user factory here define your user for, so the user is used for login to, or register or authentication, or the user for the authentication process. Okay, so remember token here to allow you to process some authentication and authorizations. Okay, So we create a new factory named post factory. Yes, post factory is used to create dummy data. We have some fake data, so we call the factory to regenerate some record inside your project. So we create post factory with the model post, or this post factory will generate file to the model post. Yes, so in we override the definition function. The definition function return a list an object with some property like title, paragraph. Yes, and you must import the Eloquent factory and import the str means some generation for name, for strings, etc. So we have title, we have paragraph, and the model is point to the post object. So now PHP artisan tinker. So this is read error print loop to allow you to add more record to the fake and the dummy data. Yeah. So you can access post factory and call the name of create. Yeah, very useful. Could not find because something wrong in your constraint, and maybe you add more body. Yes, run again. Maybe you Control C and rerun again. Rerun the tinker again. PHP artisan tinker again, and call this function again. So it will automatically regenerate a fake name. We have title, have body, have updated, and ID is automatically generated. So it is very useful when you want to test for very large number of records. Okay, you can use it. So after adding, you can see the count, and you can also check inside the terminal by select start from post and then run again. Yes, so we have 4 records inside by typing select start. You import the DB class, SASS DB class to post controller, and then send a command named select start from post to this, and dd. dd means show detail object. It is something like print R. Okay, so you can see the detail object like here. dd is only work in Laravel, not work in original PHP. So select start from post where ID is equal to 4, and then show the post and refresh again. So now I have 1. Yes, I have 1 record. ID is 4 and the body here. Yes. So if you change the ID to 1 to another ID and it does not exist, so the post result here is blank. Yes. For example, ID is equal to 2 and refresh. I can see is here. Okay. So db select is a static function to access the SQL command, to send the SQL command from your controller to the database. Okay. I can also use the query builder like this. So the query builder allows you to map some property to the specific property inside the associative array. So in query builder here means that we map the ID to the ID, so ID to tree. Okay, you can use it and run your program to see. It's very convenient to see the value by step. You can also use the function like here db.table. So db table is a static method of the db class. So refresh, you can see that's a detail like here as a table post where ID is 1. So this command is something like language integrated query in from Microsoft. Yes. So you refresh, then you can see title first post here. Yes. It's something like the select title from post where the condition. So you can also select body from post where ID is 3. Yes. Very convenient to see. Okay, so refresh. Yes. Table is post. You can change the table to another table. So you change, and you can check for the created at is bigger than now. Yes. Bigger than now. And subday for about subday minus 1 is yesterday. Yeah. If you call subday minus 1 is yesterday. Okay, so here we have a 2 record, a 2 item inside the database. We select by created date, and then now you can or where you can call or where, maybe adding more or yes ID bigger than 0. Okay, so then we have 3. Yes, we have 3, 4. Yes, we have 4. Yeah, or where. Okay, so now you can use where and between. Yes, where between to check that the value is from a range between start value and end value. So it is something like the in the SQL command. Yes, and refresh. Now we have a 3 record. We have 3 items to display. 1, 2, and 3. 3 items to display. So where not none, and where not none here is body, mean that the body must not be none to show. So select start from post where body is not none. So refresh, then every record here must have the body value. Yes. So I can try with order by. Order by mean to sort the array by order by ID, and the option is dash mean descending mean bigger first and smaller later. So bigger first mean descending. Okay, so the ID will decrease. Okay, otherwise I can use ascending, mean that the value start from small and bigger. Okay, yes, it's very basic command in SQL. Maybe you work with it from MySQL, from SQL Server. Yes, and you can also see the latest. Yes, and refresh. Okay, so we have a 4 record. Yes, it's very useful to use this command to query, to sort to sort every record inside a table. So you can also order, yes, oldest, latest, and oldest to see the oldest record. Okay, so refresh again and see the result. Okay, in some more bigger database, you can see this detail. Okay, yes, you can see that this is the same. So maybe you comment out this and call the function maybe first. So first means select top one. Yeah, so first, yes, it is the first post. First means select top one from the table. Okay, select top one in first. Comment out this. Okay, so here is select start from post where ID is to 2. The default parameter of the file is file by ID. It will search for your ID property inside your model and use it as search by ID or file by ID. Count mean give the number of record. Yeah. It means select count start from post, give a number. So we have 4 items, or count here is 4. Yes, 4 items. So you can also select the maximum and minimum value of a specific property. Yes, here, so we can see the maximum value of ID and minimum value of ID. Yes, it is good if you want to search for the big value of salary inside a list of employee, etc. The sum of value is 10. Okay, so you can calculate every value like salary, like number of person, etc. So average ID, it means it calculates the average of all ID value. So here it is a double or flat value. So you can also insert more insert more record into the database by using insert method. The insert method has an associative array of properties. So we have associative array of object like title, body, etc. And it is the same as with using the SQL command like insert into table name, value, etc. So now we test for the output by select star from table name. So we have the new record has been added to the table inside the database. Okay. So comment on this, and now we want to select where the ID is equal to a specific value. So the ID is to 5. So update, you call update the value where the ID is 5. So it is the same as with update post set some property as new value where ID is equal to 5. Okay. So select start from post to check again where ID is equal to 5 semicolon. So here we have new post, new body has been updated to the new value. So refresh and you can see the 1 mean true or successful. So the title here is haha, the body here is this is haha body. Okay, So this is update, and you can update one or two or several property. So you can also delete. Delete is very easy to use because you only specify the ID of the record, so it can be delete. So delete from post where ID is equal to 5. Okay. So select star from post, so we do not find any record. So PHP artisan make model. So now I create a new model named food. M mean include migration. M mean include migration. So it also create a new migration name, create a food migration. And PHP artisan make controller. We create a new controller to receive requests from client, process a request, and respond a view. Okay, so it is the food controller, extend from the controller, and this is a new router mean post or push. This router means that the request will redirect to food controller. Okay, so now we can type PHP artisan router list PHP. Okay, so something wrong with my code. So because of we do not import the property properly record. So here we get the controller and find the food controller, check for if whether it is incorrect folder or package. So we use resource. Okay, in this case I introduce resource and PHP artisan router list. You can see every request is here. Some requests may be here, and you have the standard request of insert, delete, update, and query or get. Okay, so we have some standard method for accessing database for specific food and controller, model controller, and then we can use it only one by defining resource. Okay, so in food controller we have some standard method for index, for create, for delete, for update. Okay, so for the index method it return a view with index. So we also have index.blade.php. Okay, so with any other controller you will have some basic method, index, create, delete, etc., and it is created automatically, so you can use it easily. So the view is inside okay, so we have index inside the first view. The first and the controller name are the same. For example, we have food controller, then we have foods folder, etc. So you copy this and paste to here, and then it is food page, the index, and okay, so copy this. Yes, so the index here is, it is food page, so we recommend out and change the line 13, and then we have index, so foods.index. Yeah, foods mean the controller name or the folder name. So refresh and type foods, that's foods. So here this is food page. Yeah, this is food page. So the food page is added to the router. So the food model is defined here by using footprint blueprint table. We have the GID property is auto increment, the string of name is string, and timestamp mean we have updated and created. We have integer, count is integer. We have long text to set the description. The description here is long text, and etc. You can add more property for the food entity or the food model. Then in model here, and you can check for the migration by PHP artisan migrate to apply every change in. So we have to add the PHP artisan migrate semicolon reset to reverse on migration, and rerun the migration. Okay, so migrate semicolon reset means reverse on migration. And you can also use refresh, PHP artisan migrate refresh, or maybe migrate, nothing to migrate here. Refresh again. Yes, refresh. Okay, so it roll back and remigrate again. So you table to see the food table, and describe the food to see the field inside. So we have ID, name, count, etc. So it have just been created using the up function. Okay, so insert into food with the value, insert some specific value to the specific value, and select star from food to see every page in every record inside. So this is Japanese food. So insert more. For example, we add more. Okay, now we have tempura one, and the message here is only this I like. Okay, so you can add more fake data and dummy data into the database for testing only. And here we have 3 foods. So now I want to display every food to read from the database and display every food. Okay, so in the food extend model, and then we have protected. We define a variable name table. Yes, the table overrides the property of defining table name, and the table name must match to the class name, the model class name. So two match each other. So you can describe the food table. Okay, so here we have the food table. So food name, the table name, and the food in line 8 is the class name or the model name. So two names are matched using the property of $table. Okay. So we define protected primary key. Primary key is ID. So we have the if you do not want to create user created at or updated at property, so you must define the timestamp is true. Yeah, so timestamp here is 4, mean that the updated at or created at does not exist. Okay, so timestamp may be true or false. Yes, so here timestamp is true, means that we have updated at and created at property. So you can also define the date format. The date format here may be hour, minute, and second. Yes. So we have many other options, but we only focus on the main options that we usually use. So let's import the model into the controller by import the food to the controller by import food. So in index method, you can send data from controller to view. So the first here is to query every record inside the database. So it is select star from food in here, and we dump die-dump to show the detail object of food. So the array. The food array is also be displayed in the view, so or in foods.index.blade.php. Okay. So to display it, we also need a table, table row, table data. So now we can customize a little bit here. So we define a function to display. Yes, so to display here the primary, and here you can see the detail item inside the list. So you move to so here, so we have a 3 record and the detail record. Now you send the, you can use with, you can use directly send an array to the view by using foods. Yeah, so here you can see the detail about the list. Okay, so I can see the list. Okay, so this is a view. The view here will display for you to some property. So you can also customize more using Bootstrap and copy this Bootstrap code and paste to here. It is from Bootstrap 5. You can also use other framework, or you can use other library. So you copy this and paste to the property here, and remove line from 32 to 35. Remove. Okay. So we have some property to display in the list group, and you remove this the unnecessary. So to customize the first list, we have many ways to define table, to define row by using Bootstrap. Okay, and refresh here. Okay, so we have sushi, sashimi, tempura. Yes, we can display many field inside a row, and we iterate the row object and to fetch the data from the object the array to the use interface. You can also filter using the function first on where. The where function will filter the array. So, for example, we only get the food with name is sushi. Okay, we only get the name of sushi, and then we get. Okay, so get will display the specific object. Okay, so we have one object in here, Yes. Now the array has the record one object, and you iterate the result with only one object, and you display the data like this. So if you call first or fail means that the value here not an array. Yes, remember that, not an array. It is a specific object, not an array. So you must change this by removing for it and copy this line only, because we have only one object, not an array of one object. Okay, it is different, but I prefer to use the array list better, because you can change easily between one item to many items. So refresh here, you can see the output like this to display one. Yes. So to send many data between controller to view is an easy way to reload the data inside the view, and this is quite convenient when you're working with many data type. So if you change the query to the condition to name is equal to salad, and you refresh and run again to see the output. So the output now is every record with the name here is salad. So this function is to create a new object. So you change this to sushi, and in here you insert new food to the database. So it is the use interface, or the view, the use interface, not an action to insert, but it is a view. It returns to the view. Inside the view you can type new information and press save. Okay, so the view name here is create.blade.php. So this is a form. It is a form. So you also have you're on the assistant from layout, and you have content. Yes, and the content here is the content of the create new food page. Yeah. So this is food create. The food create page has a form, and inside the form we have input. We have multiple input type. Okay, so this is food created, and you surrounded by a form. We have text input, we have combo input, etc. Many. So we add a new reference or an HTTP reference for an anchor task. So the anchor task here display as a button, and the HTTP reference to reference to the controller, to a specific controller. So food and foods create. Yes, it navigate to the food create. The class here is button primary. Okay, so we have created a new food button like this, and press this, it navigate to the create food. Yes, okay, very easy to understand this, because you can use it to test and retest again. Test multiple times. Okay, so now it builds the interface of create form. Yeah. So you copy the input element. The input element is form control from Bootstrap, and the type here is text. We can input food name, we input food description, we can input cow, etc. You can add multiple here, but it must surround by a form. Yes, a form. So count mean a number, so enter put count. So we have many 1 item, 2 items, 3 items, etc. It is not important to understand the business. So the business must be so easiest to allow developer focus on technology or code, not focus on business for training, only for training purpose. So in index.blade.php, I can add a button to submit this form. So this button, when you press this button, the information will be submitted to the server. So class btn primary, and the button name here is submit. Yes. And after pressing submit, you can send the information inside the form to the server. Okay. So the type here is submit, mean we send the data to server. Okay. So here we have form and multiple input with Bootstrap standard. Yes. So the action name here is the controller part. The controller part means push. The method is post, to send a post method to activate a function to insert a new object to the database. Okay. So put the AA, and the description here is it is test food, and the submit button here is submit type. Okay, so let's test again, and then we it will not work because it relates to cross-site request forwarding. The cross-site request forwarding mechanism will prevent cross-site request attack. Yes, you can add it to here because it does not allow you to use this token key to send again to get important information. So after adding CRS, it will automatically create a token value. So the token value is generated for each request. It generates a token value to each request, and it ensures that the request is secure. Yes, depending on your information. Yes, it is very quite secure. So it only applies to non-read router, means the router insert, update, delete, but the query router or the web router not necessary. Yes. Not necessary the request router. The get request is not necessary. Then if you have some hacker to access this site from his or her side, his or her can access your private or your important information. So let's use CSRF. So the store method is a method to insert this data to the database. So let's test the flow by typing your information, your food information, and type here and press submit. Okay, so this is store function. It displays this line. Okay, this line is displayed to ensure that when you press this, the information is sent to server, to backend, and it comes to here. So first we need to create a new food object in memory. We set the value from request, for example, name, description, and we save it to database by $food save. Okay, and then we redirect this to the food controller, to the index, and we redirect this to the foods. Yes, we change the count Again, refresh, submit. Okay, something wrong with my database because you specify the date time maybe not correct. So you can remove this to use the default or the default GMT date time of the system. Okay, so enter your new information here. Food, this is test FF, okay, sample, and 1 2 3. Okay, so now we can see the new record here. It redirects to the get. You can see the list. Okay, so now test in database, select start from food. When you test in database, the data is inserted, mean it ensures 100% that your insert is okay. So let's run back to the previous code about displaying a list of objects and map to the user interface, map to the table. Yes. So now it is select all and we send the list to here. So refresh. Okay, so we have every record inside the food table is displayed to here, as it displayed to the screen like here. Okay, so you can comment out and use another way to create a new by using the CRUD. CRUD here is a static method of food class, so you can create every property using this command, and we override the property of field label. Field label is a property which define specific field to display. Okay. So in edit is a form to allow you type the old information and press save. Then the information is updated to the database. So let's create a view file in foods as edit.blade.php, and you copy this from CRUD to edit, because of the user interface of edit and add sometimes the same. Yeah, only so the same as about 70%. Okay, maybe. So here you must PHP artisan router list to see all the existing list of router inside your application. So here we have food list, we have food to update, and we have food edit to edit a specific object. Yes, to edit here. So the router list allow you to control which router to see the specific router. Okay. So it is a link to the edit page, by accessing through the HTTP reference. Yes. So refresh. Okay. So we have a list of food like here, and this is edit form. The edit form something like the CRUD form, but it must get the previous value. Yeah. Change the heading 1 to update the food. So to get the existing, you must have a function to get existing object before updating. So let's dd the user the food ID. Let display the food ID firstly. So now refresh. Okay, so this is the edit page. Yes, the edit page. Okay, you can refresh again, and you can add an ID to here. Yes, after adding ID to the food ID, you can see the detail. Okay, so now you must get the existing food by using find function. The find function will query the database and get the specific food from the ID. Yes, and you display the detailed food. Okay, so this is a detailed food. Yes, this is a detailed food before updating. So we have ID 3, tempera, description, only this. I love this. Okay, yes, this is okay information. So I need get this and I update this. Okay, so get the first by calling first maybe limit 1, the same as with limit 1 in SQL, in MySQL. Okay, so we send this information using with. So with food and food. Okay, send with by using with, we send the food in food object to the foods.edit. Okay, it's quite simple to send this. Okay, so let's move down and we let's move down. Okay, and then after sending this, you must get the information from the controller by using syntax like it: $food.name. Okay, $food $food and description, the description of the food, and then the count property of the food. Yes, very easy to understand this. Okay, and what about the router part of the URL like here? So we can copy this, yeah, and router list, edit router list, and this is food. You can copy this and paste to here. Yes, so here it is food and specific food ID, and then iterate the string to slash food ID and slash edit. Okay, to edit a specific food. Yes, to specific food. Okay, so update to update the existing object in the database with a new value. Yes, so some information here is very useful because you can use consistent inside your project. Yes, from this controller to another controller, it is consistent, so it's easy to use for you to maintain the project after finish. So in food update, you need to find the specific food from the database using where. So you can find where ID is equal to this ID, and then we update the specific food by update. The parameter here is associative array, an associative array of new value, new key value. Yes, name, count, and description, new key value. And if the update is successful, it then send redirect to the food list. Yeah, it redirect to the food list. Yes. Okay, now so anything else? So we remove this, it's not necessary. Yes. So this is a method put. Yes. Update mean put method. You must add this line to line 7. Yes. So here we refresh again, and then you can see the attribute here. Yes, the new attribute here the attribute here. Okay, not updated because you must to process this by comment out this line, not necessary. The sending process is quite okay, so sending to here, and then yes, come back to here, and then click to edit, yes, and type your information to here and update food. Okay, yes, so everything is okay now because it has an update and redirect to the food request, the food list request. Yes, you can update more to make sure that your function is working perfectly. Okay, so what about the delete? Delete is more easier than update. It is the easiest way to do is delete method, and here we have the delete part like food and food. Okay, so we have ID, then we can delete this, we can find this and can delete this. Delete is quite easy to understand. So here we define a form action to method is post, yes, and the class maybe CSRF, yes, because it is non-read-only, so it must define CSRF, and you must show that it is a delete method, so add method delete. Okay, then the Laravel framework can understand this and navigate this to the specific function of delete. Okay, so we have a button here. We define a button, and the button type here is submit. Okay, the type here is submit. The submit button will send this request to the server, send the request of deleting this to the server. So type is submit. You can copy from Bootstrap the class from Bootstrap here, and copy and paste to here. So the button here is has the type, the class type like this. Okay, so copy and paste and refresh again. So here we also see the delete button. So the delete button, after pressing this delete button, it will delete. But there is one exercise for you. You must add a confirmation to the delete. After user press delete, you must confirm your code that are you sure to want to delete? And yes, yeah. So the delete function will call to destroy. Yeah, so call to destroy. So after delete, you can display here. Yes, it will display the ID of the record you want to delete. So dd $ID inside the destroy function. Okay. So inside we must query the food and then icon delete function to remove this from the database. Yes, I remove this from the database. Okay, so remove this line and we return by redirect to the list. Okay, yes, redirect to the list means that redirect to the result page, or so the list here is a GET request, so it does not CSRF. Okay, so select start from food before deleting. Before deleting, we have some food. Okay, and when you delete, and then we query again, we select star again, and do not see it anymore. Okay. So select star from foods. Okay, and then you insert into maybe one more record into this. You insert one more record. So this. So name, count, description, we insert tempura, only this, I love this. Okay, so something wrong with my code in semicolon. Okay, here maybe we just couldn't count, mass count one. Yes, run again. Tempura 111. Okay, one row has been affected. So select start from foot, select all. Okay, see here. This has the ID of 6. Refresh and press to tempura, delete. You press delete to this tempura, and then it will remove, as it will be removed. Then you check again the data inside the database again to make sure that the object has been removed. Okay. Yes. So it is quite an easy process. Yes. So what about the show? The show means show detail show detail object. And now if you have one-to-many relationship, for example, one category has many items or has many products. Okay, has many food. We have many. We have one category and we have many food for that category. We have two category and each category has several food. Yes. So let's create one table by using schema CRUD. CRUD here is static method of schema. Then you can call this from by using class name semicolon static method. Okay. So we have the foreign key. The foreign key here is foreign key is unsigned integer. So the foreign key point to the category ID. Yes. So it can be calculated as in one-to-many relationship. The ID of the one is placed in the many entity and is called foreign key. So the category here has a category ID, a category name, etc., and description and timestamp. Okay, yes. And inside the food we have the foreign key of category ID. Okay, yes. It's very basic in database. So in line 24 you must add a foreign and reference. This foreign key is a reference to the category ID in the ID in category table. Yes, it reference to the category in table. Okay, reference ID. Yes. The ID here is a primary key and auto increment. It means that it automatically increase one by one. And calling on 26, calling on. Okay, to category. Yes, on a specific table name. Yes, on a specific table name. Is something like your command to create a constraint, a foreign key constraint between two tables, one and many relationship. Okay. So on delete means cascading or set none. Yes, cascading means that when you delete the one entity, then every record depending on the one entity will be removed. Yes, it's quite dangerous. Yes. Okay, so now PHP artisan PHP artisan migrate to refresh the migration to remigrate again. Yes. So to remigrate again, you must call rollback. Firstly, you roll back to the previous state. Yes. So here you can show tables. Okay. So we can see the category. Yes. The new table has been here. So describe the category. You can also see some property like in as you define. So describe food. Yes, here is what I can see. What I want to see is it is a category ID or the foreign key to the category ID from the food entity. Okay. Yes, so describe the food. You can see this. So select star from food to display every page, every record. No, because we do not add any more. Okay. So now PHP artisan make model products. No, category. Yes, we make the model name category, including migration. We add more. Yes, you can add more, including migration by -m to include a migration in the database. Yes. So now in category model, you can define function for now we define a function for foods. Yes. So we define a function named foods. So one category has many food. As the relation here is one to many. One category has many foods. So public function foods is a instant method of a category class. So here it return to the function of this dot has many. Okay, it has many, and the parameter or the argument here is to has many. Okay, food class. Food class is data type is food, and fillable mean the selected field inside the table. So fillable means the selected field we choose. Yes. We have name, count, description. So in category class, in food class again, we also define a food belong to a specific category. So it is singular, not plural. Yes, it's singular. So public function category will return to the specific category. So the relation here is one to many. Yes. One item belong to a specific category. One food. So now insert into category name, description, value. We insert more. So the Japanese food, for example, it is Japanese food was a description, and it is Japanese food for the description. So query is okay. So now we select star from category to display. So one category. So now one category in the category table. So describe the food. Say yes, the food here, and we must insert the food record, but the category ID is get from the categories folder. By insert into food series of field, and then sushi. The count is 2, the category is 1, and the description here is, this is a description, it is test description 1. Okay, so you can add more food, but this food belong to the same category. This would belong to the same category. Category 1. Yes, this one. And then select star from foods again to see. Okay. So we have a three category. We have 3 foods that belong to one category, one specific category. Category 1. And now select ID, name, category, description from food. Yeah, here. Yes, this is food. We only select what field you need. What field you need. Okay. We only need the name. You need ID, category ID, and description. Created at or timestamp not necessary. Okay. So now open index.blade. Add an anchor with HTTP reference to food dot so the food dot id as food dot id. Okay, so now we have the name. Yes, the name. So this link to the detail. Yes, a detail products. So detail food. Yeah, is a link to the so detail food. So the so here is the method to display the detail object. Yes, to display the detail object. So it is called so. Yes. So here you must test for by displaying this is so function. Yes. Test only. This is so function. Display the ID. Yes. $ID. Yes. So you refresh, and when you press to a specific row, you can see this. This is show product. So function 2. Okay. So in this function you add the you can get the ID and query the ID from the database and get the detail object and display detail information here. Yeah, display information here. So here you can okay. So the food, the existing food is get by find food called static method find specific ID and return the view to the view of foods dot so. Okay, food dot so means the detail and the parameter transmitting by calling with. So with food. Okay, so food. Yes, so with food send the food object to the so view. Send the food object to the so view, and then we display the food detail here before display to the view. Yes, only for checking. Yes, it's quite simple for you. So after refreshing, you can see the existing food display like this. So this is test description 2, or this name sashimi, okay, and count, etc. Yes. So you define new file of so for the view. So the so.blade.php. Okay, so copy the content to here, copy the extent from layout and change the content. Yes, every page has a separate content, not duplicate content here. So you simply display the information to here. Yes, display for the simplest way, as you know. So we have name, count, description, and category ID. Yes. So the category, yes, remove dd to remove. Okay. So now refresh. So here it is the detail. So it is a detail object, yes, and category is 1. Okay, so belong to category. And so you can also display the detail category object in the show, yes, in the show PHP. So now you can display the category like here. Okay, so it's query the category depending on the category ID, and then you can display the category name, not the category ID. You display the category name, okay, like here. So, yes. So calling the function of category file $foot dot category ID, and okay, so the file maybe first is okay, but in this case I know exactly that it is only one, it has only one object, and okay. So now you must import the category model inside this controller. Yes, inside this controller. Okay, now so you can also see that the detail object like here. So it is Japanese food. Is Japanese food. Yes. So come back to the show.blade.php and change this, removing the line 76 and get the category and fill to here, and now display the food object with a full detail. Display with a full detail by dd $foods. Yes, by calling dd and refresh. Now you can see the food object with some attributes. Yes, with some attribute value. Yes, okay, maybe it is good because we can see the detail. Yes, detail object, detail food, and then detail category. Yes, very good to see such many information. So now you change this to category name. A category name. Okay. Yes. Call the name property of category name attribute. Okay. So we see the category name like this. So we have we can remove the category ID not necessary for user to see. It is not necessary to display category ID for the end user. So now you can refresh, and then you can also change this to category list. You can select the category list from. So we must fetch the UI firstly. So this is a fetch UI. The first we need a fetch UI. This is a combo. This is a combo in HTML. It is combo with option, with select element. So refresh. Okay, so we have some like here. Now you must change this fetch data to the category name and list by name. Yes, list category by name. Yes. So we name the select to categories is the name of this combo, and to iterate I use before it. Yes, before it to iterate every object inside. Okay. Yes. So Japanese food option value. So remove this line. Yes, you can remove this line and replace as a specific object to category object, and you can display every field by dollar category arrow name to get the name. Yes, the display is name, but the value is ID. Okay, the display is used for end user to see, but the ID is used for the program to detect the specific object. The specific category is a list. Okay. Now, what about the CRUD? To insert a new food? Yes. Now, to insert a new food, you must specify the category you send every category to the view. You send many objects to the view, and the view can display this object again. So with categories and categories, okay, you send again to return views. So change this to food. Okay, good. So now access database, MySQL database, and select start from category to show every categories, to send it to display every category. So here we have one. To select category, you must insert more categories for testing. You must insert more category for testing, and then insert into category name, description, and value. Okay, so it has some maybe Vietnamese food, again Indian foods, etc. So maybe here is Vietnamese food is good. Vietnamese food. The description is this is description 3, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and the maybe fruit and vegetable. Okay, yes, it is not so important because the information is for reference only. So now we have 2. In database, we have 3. Yes, and now refresh. So we have fruit. Okay, good. We have 3. We see 3 category inside the database and show in the use interface. Yes. So what about this? And now you DD. Before insert to database, you must DD to display the detailed request object. Yes, yeah. So enter information, fruit AA, and enter ZDS ABC. Okay, and then enter body count, and then submit. Yes. Okay. So now the store method will show you about the detail, and the detail here you must access the attribute. Yes, attribute is what you need is attribute. So attribute per parameter here is some parameter sent to the insert. Okay, now change a little bit, change this. Okay, and refresh. So the request object. Okay, this is a request object send. Okay, now the select name is a category ID. Send from here. Send the category ID. Yes. After selecting it, get the category ID, not category name. Yes. It display category ID. It display category name, but select the category ID to add to the request and send the request to the insert function as a store function. Okay, so this is test free, maybe 2244 and submit. Okay, now you can also see, yes, the detailed information here is category now is 2. The value has been sent, and then we see the category ID is 2. Okay, yes, quite easy to understand. So now remove this, and we need validate the data here, and how to make the validation in here. To validate, you must read the property, and then we add more property to here. The category ID, request, and add this to here. And then in field label, you also must add category ID to the field label. Okay. So in food, in category, you must change. Yeah. Okay. Then copy and check your rate. Check carefully again. Yes, and refresh. Now refresh. Input information, food AA. This is test food 3. Yes. This is wrong because you add a string. Yes, this is wrong because I add a string to integer value. Yes. Incorrect integer value because you add a string. So this must be validated. Yes. So validation will work here to check for the invalid or the proper property before inserting it to the database. Okay. The database. So validate here has multiple name is required. Yes, requirement not null. Category ID also required. Yes. If the validation is passed, then this line is run. Yes, this 62 line is run. If the validation is passed or the validation is successful, yes, this line is passed. Okay, this line is come. Yes, otherwise it will throw an exception. This is called a class name validation exception. Yes, validation exception. Okay, so the name here is unique. Unique means it must not have duplicate value. Yes, unique. And the minimum of count is 0. So it must not be below 0. It must not be -1, -2. Yes, no, not acceptable. So the maximum here is 1000 pieces or 1000 items, or the count. And now below the form, you check for the existing of error. Yes, you check for the error by if $error.any to check for the error of the validation is okay or not. If the validation has a div to display if the error occur. So the div here has the red color. Yes, the div here is red color, and it displays the error name and the error detail and the reason or the message error, the error message. Okay, so error any is an array, so you must iterate this. You must iterate this as error. Okay, you must iterate this the array of error, and then we display the detail error in P. Yes, maybe one reason in one P element. Yes, in one paragraph element. So the class here is text enroll to see the text with red color. Okay, so refresh. Then here you enter food AI, and we enter this is test, and then count. You enter a value of less than 0 or a string. Yes, yes. Okay. So undefined constant error. Oh, what? Maybe remove. Okay. Dollar. Yes. Dollar mean PHP. PHP also always has dollar in variable. Yes. I miss. Okay. So false, maybe false ABC AA, and this is test. The description is this test, and for, and then submit. Okay. So here the count must be integer. Oh, good, very good. It displays the message. So the rule to validation here, you can create a rule or a custom validation. You can customize your custom validation using rule. For example, you create a new rule, uppercase. Yes, you create a new rule named uppercase, and then you write your rule and you apply to your field. For example, this uppercase class has two functions. The first function is how to pass. How to pass? What does it mean? What is pass? So the pass here is my condition, my specific condition, my custom condition. Means that the value must be uppercase. Yeah. This is one very simple example. In your business, you can your validation may be more complicated, but let's add the condition inside the pass method. Okay. So how to apply this rule? Yes, very easy. You can apply this rule for some of your properties, some of your field. Okay. Inside your model. Yes. So now you import the rule to your controller. Yes. So use app rule uppercase. Yes. Uppercase is the previous, the recently rule I have just created. So now inside in this line, before updating you must validate, or you can validate here. Okay, good. You can validate here by name. For example, name is required. No, name now is uppercase, new uppercase. So you apply this rule to the name field. You apply this rule. It defines this rule and apply to this field. Yes. And then you refresh. Add new information, food AA. This is test, uppercase, and then add more. So select specific category, and then the name must be uppercase. Okay. Yes. So now you test for the pass case by adding the name, maybe full uppercase, and it's a name full uppercase. For example, food AA, yes, and this is test, okay, test uppercase, yes, and the food count is an integer, a positive integer, yes, and refresh. Okay, now, so delete this. Okay, yes, good. Okay, maybe your validation is here. So to summarize, validation has two types. One is user, the built-in validation of Laravel. The second is user custom rule. Yes. Okay. So we now we make a request, make another request, validate by creating a request. So you define a request named create validation request to define a request for validation.
So custom validation. The request is extend a class extend from the standard request, but apply more validation to this request. So now create validation request. So return true, authorize, yes, and apply the true or false for this method to apply the rule for apply authorize authentication. So the rule here, you copy this rule and paste to here. Yes, you copy your rule in the previous example and paste to here. Paste this rule to here, and so the rule here is combined with a new request. Then you import this request and replace this request with a standard request before. You replace this request with the previous request before. So now using the create validation request is my recently request. Copy and paste, replace this request. Okay. So this validation request will be separated separate class. You add many validation inside this request, and then you apply some specific requests to some controller. Okay, so remove this line, remove this validation. So for simplify, only call $request arrow validated. Yes, quite simple. Okay, and replace this. Okay, you replace every specific request with this request, and when you want to change the request, you only access to the create validated request and change the rule again. You can apply to every request that use your custom request. Yeah. It's very useful with when the case your request use a common way to validate information. So what about the upload file? Sometimes you want to upload your image to the server using Laravel. You choose your image file from the browser and choose this image and press upload to upload this file to the server. So it is a form. But you must add an encrypt type to multi-part. Multi-part means your file will be split to smaller items and sent step by step. Yes. Okay. So in the foot, you must add more image part. So you must add more image, more a few like image part. So PHP artisan make artisan add image to foot. Yes. So image 2 is a field name. Yes. Then this migration only add a new image or add a new field to the existing image. So now here in the blueprint table, you add an image part. Image part is a string to reference to a specific URL image. Okay. So dollar table drop column. The down here is a function when you want to roll back. Yes. When you roll back the migration, it will drop the table it has just created. Now it drop the constraint of the table. Okay. So now PHP artisan migrate to add migration, and now you check from the database select start from false. Okay. So now you can see the image part. Okay. Yes, the image part has been added, but the value is blank or none. Okay. So describe foot to see the image path is variable character 255. Yes, it is enough to store an image path. Okay, so let's debug the store by dd.request on. Yes, dd.request on to display every information, every part, every variable inside the request, the key inside the request. So send. Okay, so now you must specify, you must create a new. Okay, so here we have a choose file. Yes, so choose file button. Let's choose a file, choose one specific image, yes, and then press submit to send this image to the backend, to the server, and it will save this image to a specific folder in the server. Okay, so let's do it. Firstly, we have a food test. We have image. Yes, image is an object. This object has been sent to the server, but the server does not save it because we do not write it. Yes, now I will write it. Okay, so it is temporarily saved to the specific folder in the server. Yes. So now in the store you must validate. Okay, validate. So the image must be okay, must require, and the image type. The image type is must be GPG, PNG, JPEG. Yes, and maximum is about 4 megabytes, 4.55 megabytes. Okay, it only allows you to upload a file with less than or equal to 5 megabytes. The count must be from 0 to 200. Yes, okay, good. I think this is enough for you to submit this form. Yes, to validate this the image or the image information. So the description here is required. Okay, it requires enough description. Description may be none. Okay, but in this case, for carefully we require. So the request is file. Request file with image means that the information is a file. Yes. So the object is the file object here. The file object here. You must add CSRF. Okay. And the file here is here. Guest extension. Guest extension give you the extension, the file extension. It gives you the file extension. Okay, so copy this. That is a file extension. Yes. GPG. GPG means your ZPage file. Yes. You choose your ZPage file from your local and send to server. And in the server, you must check the file extension before uploading. Yes. Okay. So you can also use the mimer type. The mimer type. Mimer type is a function in Laravel to allow you get a file extension. Okay, so now refresh again. So we have image, JPEG. Okay, because in this exercise we only allow image to be submitted to the server. Okay, so submit. Okay, now this is the full name. The full name of the image. Yes, the full name of the image. So let's call get size to get the size. Okay, to get the size in megabyte. Okay, so this is the size to megabyte, and kilobyte. Kilobyte convert to megabyte for easy to check. Easier to check. by converting it to megabyte. Select TD and get error to show the error when you get. Okay. Submit. Okay. No. 0. 0 means no error. So is valid. Yes, you can check is valid. Or yes, true. Okay. The validation process. Check is valid. Okay. Many methods to use with a dollar request file. Yes, and the client image name and server image name must be different. Why? It must be different because when it is not different, then if another image has the same name, then the old name or the old image is replaced or removed. Yes. When the generate will be quite different than the origin. Yes. So you can write your generate image name differently. Many ways to write this. In this case, I use trim the time. I add the time to it. The time means the timestamp means the current timestamp. We adding with the timestamp, string, etc. Then refresh. Okay. Now this is my new name. Yes, my new name. It's quite good. Yes. To be more complicated to ensure that it may not be duplicated. So when you have this, we move to a folder. We move this to a specific folder. In my server, we move this to a server. So request code image and move. This function will move the image to the path. Yes. So public path is a function that gets the public path from the Laravel and paste this image file to that folder. This image file to that folder. So now it is here. The public file is here. Yes. Okay. So public path will be here, and you create a new image to this public path. And create a new image to this public path, and then you move to this folder. So refresh. Okay. And then I can see the new file name. Some information about new file name after uploading to the server. Yes. Okay. So this is the part. Yes. The server part. Yes. The server part. Okay. So now in food PHP, you change a little bit. Maybe it has image part. Add more table. Add more variable in the image part. Yes, add the image part. Okay. So we have 5 fields in this case. So here add image part to this. Yes, in the model you must add image part. Okay. Add the image part to here and then validate. Yes, validate it. So remove this. Now we can only focus on image. Yes, and then select star from foods. Okay, so we can see that the image has been added to the database. Yeah. The image part has been added to the database, and it's also be saved to the public folder inside the Laravel PHP server. Yes. So delete from foods where the ID is equal to 5. Okay. You can also delete when you delete the file inside the database. Yes. Okay, so it is good for you to upload file, because some example, some real actual example, maybe you update your profile, you update a specific item, update a product in a product list, etc. Yes. So here we can use this way to select file and to save this to server. Now, if we want to display this file to this page, to this show, so you must add the image source, the EMG element. You can add EMG element inside the detail. Yes, inside the detail. So the source may choose from the asset folder, image, and foot name. Image part is here. Okay, you can set it to here. The image part source. Okay, and then you can customize it. Okay, refresh. Yes, so I can see the detail. The detail foot or the detail product. Yes. So now you run the PHP artisan list. Yes. So now we review about some PHP artisan file before ending this tutorials. So the clear compile with clear service and file. And you can also change the mode to maintenance mode. Yes, by PHP artisan down to change this to maintenance mode, and up change to the ready. Yes, up is leave. Yes, maintenance mode or leave mode. Okay, between environment. And here environment here is local. Local means you run your application in your client. Right. And PHP Artisan dash version. To see this version of Laravel 9, in this tutorial I use Laravel 9, and PHP Artisan optimized to catch every configuration, to catch router, to catch file, to remove and to refresh it again, to remove cache, and you can also clear cache by using PHP Artisan to clear cache. Now you select start from user. Okay, the user is used to customize your authentication or your authentication. Yes, we have some inbuilt property that made by Laravel framework. Okay, so you can also clear reset to clear the token or the authentication information. So PHP Artisan key generate to regenerate the token again for the application again. Okay. Yes, it's very useful. You do not need to do it by manually. You can use this. You can also change the environment variable in here. You can change the app key. You can change the database name, database connection. Yes. So the app key has been regenerated after this command. Okay. So PHP Artisan session table. To create a session table to you when you want to see some session is stored between page. Yes, for example, you can see the session like here. But we can talk about authentication or session in another videos. If you like this video, please comment some advice, some information for me to do the next video. to select the topic to do the next video. Okay. So here some property in user entity allow you to manage user to log in to your application, to log in, log out, to save the authentication. So PHP artisan router clear, to clear and recreate the router again. Okay, yes. So the router clear and to router list is very useful when you want to check your router successfully. Yes, you can also clear, and you can optimize again to recache the information when your applicant run improperly. You can recache to see the latest information in the view. Yes. Okay. So recache again. Okay. So I think this video is stop here, and thank you very much for everyone to see my tutorial, with a long tutorial, and hope to see you again in another videos, and hope you everything is the best. Thank you very much, and bye bye.